I've often looked for something that hasn't had much attention paid to it. They are what they are. Just that whole beautifully crafted for a very specific purpose. So that beauty that comes from the function is probably what attracted me to them. I'm Matthew McIntyre Wilson. I live in Wellington, and I'm a maker. The first time I came into this room and spent time with the hinaki, and that was really just to understand different parts of the hinaki, the main structure of the whatu, the aho and the whenua. And they were either beautifully made, learning from the objects, learning from that unknown maker who I've never met. It can be quite a special thing. The way that they've added in a whenua or added in the aho or attached the pōtaka, it's amazing how much you can learn just by spending time with them and looking. Every time I look at one, there's something new, something different. I suppose that comes from all the different makers and the different materials, the different shapes and different patterns within the weaving for different fish. When I'm spending time with the hinaki here, you kind of start to feel that weird connection to that person who's manipulated those threads in that particular way, and you kind of wonder why'd you do it like that? But there's always a reason. The threads need to follow the same path, and our story needs to be told to be able to do that. And that's your generations of observation and understanding of your river and your fish. And those hinaki are made specifically for that purpose. The materials that I know are the mangi from the north, which is a fern that climbs trees, and it's basically the main stem of the fern and the fronds are taken off. Akakiakia seems like quite a special material. The places that it grows is sort of untouched native forest. I'd go so far as to describe it more like gold. Gold has this other quality to it. There's that whole gold fever, that magical thing that it does with light. And the akakiakia has a similar vibe. There's a beautiful thing that it does with light. I learnt, or I sort of taught myself, with the materials that I was familiar with. I've made them out of copper wire and silver wire. Using the wire and just really trying to follow the path of the thread within the old ones and then replicating that with the wire. The copper that I've used, it's come from a cable that I found in the bush and dragged out quite a few years ago, and I've taken that cable and sort of heated it up and then put it through my roller mills to roll it out. Copper and silver as materials, I've been using those since I was a teenager. I'm very familiar with them and what they can and can't do and how they behave. Fine silver is what I'm using as opposed to sterling silver, so it's a lot softer. It doesn't really work harden, whereas copper, if I anneal it, heat it up, it softens it, and then every time you bend it, it gets a little bit harder, and to the point where if you bend it the same place, it'll break. Where fine silver, that manipulation of the aho, it maintains a softness to it. It's quite a beautiful material. To have my work sitting alongside its teachers, I think is quite a special thing for me. Maybe its role is to keep teaching. That's what this maker unknown has done. If my making can do that for somebody else, then that's good. I suppose it's taken a long time to gain more of that understanding of how they work and how they work just within their structure. But making them in the old way has really made quite a significant difference to the understanding. And even doing that, there's still so much more to learn about the materials, and I can follow the path of that thread, but actually getting a full understanding of how those threads were manipulated in the old way to get the result that I'm looking at is still the muscle memory is what I'm trying to sort of put back. But do I have it right? I just don't know.